Let's jump right into it. Right now, there is a fascinating and honestly critical shift happening in Yemen's language industry. Today, in this explainer, we're exploring the evolution from just having basic language skills to mastering certified professional translation. The source material we're unpacking today outlines how translation is fundamentally changing. It's no longer just a simple skill, it's literally becoming a matter of national sovereignty and institutional survival. And this whole movement is being spearheaded by a pioneering institution in Sana'a.
So, is knowing a second language enough to be a translator? It's a super common assumption, right? You speak English, you speak Arabic, so boom, you can translate. But what our sources argue is that translation is absolutely not just about substituting words. Not at all. It's actually about transferring destiny, transferring liability, and reputation. Think about it. When you translate a legal contract, a court decision, or even just a student certificate, you are literally holding their future in your hands. Knowing the language is just the starting line. It definitely doesn't mean you know how to run the race.
And, well, that brings us to a rather grim reality. Our sources describe the current translation scene in Yemen as floating and, quite frankly, chaotic. It's this highly unregulated space filled with just random translation efforts and really weak certifications. We're seeing commercial courts receiving legal translations from both certified and completely uncertified individuals. This severe lack of standardized quality, it creates massive risks. A single mistranslated document could mean a lost legal right, a totally ruined business deal, or a completely distorted public image. I mean, the stakes literally could not be higher.
But thankfully, there is a stabilizing solution stepping into all this chaos. Enter the Alalsun Center for Certified Translation and Training, or ACTT, in Sana'a. Now, they aren't just another run-of-the-mill language center teaching conversational English. No, they are a national platform operating strictly with international standards. And this whole initiative is driven by the profound vision of two key experts, Mr. Asim Othman Al-Ahmadi, a top-tier linguistic and translation training expert who heads the center, and Counsel Mohammed Othman Mohammed Al-Ahmadi, the founder and president of the Yemeni Translators and Linguists Association. Together, they are completely redefining what it means to be a translator in Yemen.
And how are they pulling this off? Through rigorous, hands-on application. They recognize this massive gap between what you learn in an academic setting and what the labor market actually demands. So instead of sitting people down for dry, theoretical lectures, ACTT provides practical, real-world training environments. They put their trainees right in the hot seat, dealing with actual business contracts, real NGO reports, and live legal documents. They take a novice who just happens to know a language, and they bridge that gap, training them on how to survive and actually thrive in an unforgiving labor market.
Counselor Mohammed Al-Ahmadi actually frames this exact philosophy as a really powerful equation. Accurate translation equals rights preservation multiplied by trust creation. I absolutely love this framework. It completely shifts how you view the job. Translation isn't just typing. It's a shield for legal safety. If a translator is accurate, they're actively preserving a client's rights. And when those rights are preserved, well, trust is created between organizations, cultures, and businesses. A professional translator is essentially an engineer of meaning, operating under strict professional responsibility.
This philosophy right here is what separates the amateurs from the true professionals. You see, an amateur translator looks at a sentence and asks, okay, how do I translate this specific word? They're just chasing words. But a professional trained at ACT, they look at the exact same sentence and ask, what is this document actually trying to do? Who is the end reader? What specific legal environment does this exist in? They prioritize contextual meaning and professional liability. A literal word-for-word substitution might be perfectly correct if you're just looking at a dictionary, but it could be completely disastrous in a real-world legal context.
To reach that high level of professionalism, ACTT focuses on highly specialized training sectors. We're talking about training professionals for NGO communications to make sure they meet strict UN standards. They dive deep into legal and commercial contracts, where absolute precision is paramount. They handle labor market documents, optimizing things like CVs and cover letters for International Applicant Tracking Systems, or ATS, as well as for embassies. And crucially, they provide specialized training in anti-money laundering, AML, and financial translation. In these high-stakes domains, ACTT is taking a bilingual speaker and elevating them into an indispensable industry leader.
There is one specific metric that really highlights this impact, and that number is 17. ACT has directly trained 17 local Yemeni organizations to write and translate precise, accurate reports. Now, why does this matter so much? because international donors have to clearly understand the realities on the ground to actually provide funding and grants. A poor translation of a needs assessment, that can cause an organization to lose a vital grant entirely. By training these 17 organizations, ACT ensured they could communicate with international donors directly and accurately, without needing some middleman to fix their documents.
And that leads us to a fantastic concept developed by ACT, the organization partner. An NGO doesn't just need someone who happens to own a dictionary. They need a true language partner. This is a translator who truly understands the specific donor's language and requirements, who profoundly understands the reality in the field, and who can write the final document to strict international standards. It's just a completely different level of value. They aren't just some outside contractor. They become a vital asset for securing the organization's funding and preventing critical miscommunications.
But hold on, because the stakes get even higher when we look at financial translation and anti-money laundering or AML compliance. Our sources heavily highlight the expertise of Mr. Alalsun Al-Homaidi in this specific, highly sensitive area. Financial translation isn't just about knowing basic banking terms. It requires a deep understanding of a complex legislative system. Mr. Alalsun teaches translators that choosing just a single incorrect word, literally one word, in a financial compliance document could potentially expose an entire bank to international sanctions. There's absolute zero room for guesswork here. And this is perfectly captured in another powerful equation from the source material. Safe financial translation equals terminology expert plus legislative understanding plus professional liability. You need all three of those to succeed. You have to know the exact terminology. You must understand the laws that actually govern those terms, and you have to accept the professional liability of your choices. It's a strict rule. He who does not own the AML terminology simply does not have the right to do financial translation, period.
Okay, now we have to address the elephant in the room, artificial intelligence. I mean, is AI just going to replace all these translators? Well, our sources tackle this head-on. While AI is incredibly fast at generating drafts and has absolutely changed the rules of the game, a human professional brings verification, deep contextual understanding, and that crucial professional liability. A machine can suggest a text all day long, but it cannot take legal responsibility if that text causes a massive lawsuit. A true professional doesn't blindly trust the machine. They use its speed to free up their time for the high-level human judgment that the machine totally lacks.
Counselor Mohammed Al-Hamidi actually defines the modern translator's worth with this equation. Value in the AI era equals human intelligence multiplied by technology, multiplied by verification, multiplied by professional judgment. ACTT teaches its students to embrace AI, not fear it. They learn to use it as a super powerful tool to enhance their work while always maintaining strict ethical and professional responsibility over that final document. The AI might draft it, sure, but the human verifies it, judges it, and ultimately owns it.
So how do they actually instill all of this? Well, through rigorous training that prepares novices for the actual real-world demands of the labor market. And what's truly impressive is that ACTT doesn't just do this in person in Sana. They offer distance learning as well. But listen, this isn't just about passively watching pre-recorded videos. Their online training requires full professional presence. They maintain the exact same rigor, assignments, and follow-ups. They even use, and I found this absolutely fascinating, graphological follow-ups. They literally analyze the actual handwriting and development of the trainees remotely to ensure complete engagement and progress. It's next-level dedication.
All of this intense, focused preparation leads to the ultimate output of ACT's philosophy, the linguistic passport. In a world where an embassy or an international organization will reject your entire application over a single typo, a poorly translated certificate is basically a rejected ticket. ACT's ultimate goal is to provide a certified, flawlessly translated document that pretty much guarantees international acceptance. It becomes an unrejectable second passport for businesses, NGOs, and students, ensuring that their ideas and their credentials can cross borders seamlessly.
Ultimately, this all builds to a really profound conclusion captured by Counselor Mohammed Al-Hamidi. Professionalism plus linguistic integrity equals building enduring cultural bridges. Fixing the translation industry in Yemen isn't just some academic exercise. It is a vital, foundational part of building the capacity to communicate, to work, and to open up to the rest of the world. Accurate, standards-driven translation is quite literally the foundation upon which agreements, economies, and entire civilizations are built. Which leaves us with a final thought for you to consider today. After seeing the sheer liability, the incredible nuance, and the immense stakes involved in getting a document right, when you need your next document translated, are you just going to look for someone who happens to speak the language? Or will you look for a true language partner? Thank you so much for exploring this fascinating topic with me. Keep seeking clarity.